Last summer, when my grandfather passed away, I never imagined I'd inherit his sprawling 200-acre ranch on the edge of Willow Creek Valley. The place had been in our family for generations, but I hadn't set foot there since I was a kid, chasing fireflies under the ancient oaks. I was a software developer, holed up in a cramped city apartment, not exactly the cowboy type. So when the lawyer read Grandpa's will, declaring, "The ranch and all its assets go to my grandson, Ethan," my cousin's jaws hit the floor. They stormed out, fuming, expecting to split the inheritance. Me? I just sat there, dazed, wondering what I'd do with a rundown ranch. 2 weeks later, I drove out to see my unexpected legacy. The main house sagged with age, but the land was breathtaking rolling hills, a sparkling stream, and towering trees that whispered stories of the past. As I wandered the southern boundary, something caught my eye. A row of gleaming mansions pressed right up against my property line. I dug out Grandpa's old survey maps and cross-checked them with county records. My stomach dropped. About an acre of my land had been swallowed by Willow Grove Estates, a snooty gated community with a notorious homeowners association. 5 luxury homes sat partially on my property, built without a shred of permission. I headed to the county records office the next day and uncovered a decade-old scam. When Grandpa was in his 80s, rarely visiting the ranch, the HOA had slyly shifted their fence onto his land. They'd built those mansions, banking on no one noticing. Furious, I booked a meeting with the HOA board. When I walked into their polished clubhouse, Margaret Hayes, the HOA president, greeted me with a smile as sharp as a razor. 5 other board members, dressed like they were auditioning for a yacht club, eyed me warily. "Mr. Carter, what's this about?" Margaret asked, her tone dripping with condescension. "I'm the new owner of the Carter Ranch," I said, spreading out my maps. "And your community is sitting on my land. 5 of your homes are built on an acre that belongs to me." Margaret's smile vanished. "That's absurd. Those boundaries were settled years ago." I pointed to the county records. "These say otherwise. You've been trespassing for a decade." The room went quiet until Harold Grant, a ruddy-faced man in his 60s, leaned forward. "Listen, kid, Willow Grove is a prestigious community. We don't take kindly to baseless claims." I kept my cool. "This isn't a claim. It's a fact. I'm here to discuss a solution." Margaret's eyes narrowed. "There's nothing to discuss. Those homeowners have deeds to my land," I shot back. She leaned in, voice icy. "Mr. Carter, we have top-tier lawyers. Push this, and we'll bury you in court for years." Or her tone softened, but her eyes didn't. "We could offer you $25,000 to drop this nonsense." I almost laughed. That acre was worth 10 times that, not counting their illegal construction. "Take it or leave it," she said, smirking. "A city boy like you probably needs the money." I stood. "You'll hear from me." The next day, a certified letter arrived from the HOA, demanding $250,000 for unauthorized access to their community and harassing their board. It was outrageous they'd stolen my land and now wanted me to pay them. I could have lawyered up, but a better plan was brewing. I started digging. First, I found that Willow Grove's water supply came from a well on my property. They'd been pumping my water for years, no permission, no payment. Second, the only access road to those 5 mansions cut through a corner of my ranch. Grandpa had allowed it verbally, but nothing was in writing. They were vulnerable, and I was ready to strike. I hired surveyors to stake out the true property line, then built a sturdy fence right along it, slicing through the backyards of those 5 homes. Pools, patios, even a garage suddenly cut off. The homeowners lost it, screaming about their ruined properties. The HOA called the sheriff, but when the deputies saw my surveys and records, they shrugged. "Civil matter," they said, leaving Margaret fuming. She showed up at my doorstep the next day with 2 suited lawyers. "Take down that fence now," she demanded, her voice shaking with rage. "I'm securing my property," I said calmly. One lawyer jabbed a finger at me. "We'll sue you into oblivion." I smiled. "Before you do, check with the county water authority. I've reported your illegal well on my land. And tomorrow, I'm blocking the access road to those 5 houses. No way in, no way out." Margaret's face drained of color. "You wouldn't dare. Try me," I said, shutting the door. 2 days later, I sat across from the full HOA board and the frantic homeowners. Gone was their arrogance. Margaret barely spoke, her hands trembling. They knew I held the cards. We struck a deal. They'd pay $500,000 for the acre they'd built on fair market value, plus $150,000 for 10 years of stolen water. In return, I'd grant easements for the road and well, with reasonable annual fees. The kicker? Margaret was forced to resign after it leaked that she'd known about the property line issue for years and hid it. A month later, I held a check for $650,000. I poured some into restoring Grandpa's old house, where I now live full-time. I quit coding and started a small organic farm, growing apples from Grandpa's trees. Sometimes, I ride my horse along the fence line, waving at my Willow Grove neighbors. Most are decent folks, misled by a power-hungry HOA. The new HOA president invited me to their summer barbecue. I brought apple pie, made from my orchard, Grandpa's recipe. As we ate, I thought of him. He'd have handled this the same way, standing firm, fighting for what's ours, but fair in the end. Justice doesn't always come from courtrooms. Sometimes, it's just a man, a fence, and a secret well, proving you don't mess with a Carter on Carter land.